Hello, everybody. This is Darren Redmond for another edition of the Again for the First Time podcast. For those of you who haven't listened yet to our podcast, you're in for a treat today. I'm going to be speaking with actor, writer, director, producer. I would use the word bon vivant, whatever that exactly means. Just a person of doing a lot of things and doing them well. Actor Robert Benn is my guest today. And before we get started, we're recording on the Saturday of July 4th weekend. So I want to give you an extra thank you because I'm sure you got a lot going on. And I know you're filming and it's the holiday weekend. Thank you, Robert, for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate that very much. I know you were born and raised in Philadelphia, but for those people who don't know you, if you can give people just a little background, bring it where you want to go.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in West Philly. However, you know what? One of those things about born and raised in West Philly, when you're growing up, you think everything's going to be great. You got these plans and everything. But the next thing you know, it kind of side roads. So I wound up getting adopted by a Jewish family at 13 and changed my life.
Oh, tell me.
And I always tell people, you don't know what you're capable of or what your life's going to bring next. This family, it's like going left and then it's like either going left or going right. Mm-hmm. This family was my going left because I was heading in the wrong direction, being just biologically, hanging with the wrong crowds, with the wrong crews, not going to school, hooking in school at every chance I got. And then I remember when I finally got adopted, they asked me, what do I want in life? And I said, I just want to be happy and give people what I know I can do. Mm-hmm. And they set me so straight where I worked for them because we had a clothing store. Mm-hmm. I used to go every day after school when I went to school to this clothing store in West Philly. And then when I was about, I think, July 16th, and I always remember dates, they asked me, they said, do you want a job here? And I was like, and this is before I had got adopted. Mm-hmm. They asked me that I want a job there. And I said, yeah, sure, because I was always coming there. Then they would take me home. At the end of the day, they would drive me home. And then I would get out of the car, go into my parents' porch, my biological, and I'll wait till they get to the corner. As soon as they got to the corner, I ran across the street to the abandoned house. So that's where I stayed at. So one time, as they dropped me off, they said, we never see you go in the house. Then I tell them the story, I tell them everything what happened and all. And then, they talked to my parents and everything. Next thing you know, it went through a battle for a minute, not even a long minute. And it worked to my advantage. Next thing I know, they're taking care of me for my life. I mean, for the rest of my life. And I'm going to school. I'm graduating. Now, even school was a little touch and go for me back then. But graduated, did everything. But it wasn't for them. I probably wouldn't have graduated. If it wasn't for them, I would have had 20 kids running up and down the street. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be an actor. I remember my dad said to me, he said, the most important thing in life is, he said, you have to ask yourself, what's next? Now, he said, now, if you don't want the life that you're going to have, say these magic words with me. Do you want fries with that? Right. And I kept saying, what? He said, say it with me. Do you want fries with that? Mm-hmm. And after the 7th time, it's like, oh, wait, I'm not flipping no one's burger.
Right.
So even though we had a clothing store, then we wanted to open up a furniture store. Mm-hmm. After years of doing that, we decided to close up, and now we're in real estate. We've been in real estate for almost a decade and some change now. But the whole thing was they owned real estate. They had the store. Even though I was a part of it, they had it. Right. So I remember I got to the point where I said, you know what, I want to do this acting thing. And one of my friends asked me, said, hey, is it possible that you can go with me while I go audition for, he was going to be an extra for Rocky Balboa.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I guess I can go with you. So I went with him, but he didn't get picked. I did.
It happens.
So as being an extra, hey, all I had to do was walk back and forth. It was the best moment of my entire life. Mm-hmm. So it was different because at that moment I got this bug and I'm like, I want to do this. And then I did that for a little bit. Then someone said, you're really good. You might want to do this, on a full scale and not just being an extra. And now I come from a school of literally, when I say this, I've got kicked out of school so much that when I finally went back, I graduated when I was 22 out of high school.
I think that's all. First of all, that's awesome.
That's
awesome.
It's amazing.
Yep.
My English teacher name was Doug Wild. Doug Wild was actually an actor. He was on soap operas. He was on whether Young and the Restless or Bold and Beautiful, but he was doing soap operas, and he was a Shakespearean actor.
Nice.
So we did Shakespeare one day. We were reading Shakespeare, and he said, you're good at this. You might want to do this as a professional. I'm just saying, but you're good at this. I'm like, whatever. And then at that point, I'm thinking back to that. I'm like, maybe I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it tipped the scale, and it started working in my favor.
So there's so much I want to unpack there. And again, two guys from the East Coast, we'll just jump right in like double Dutch because that's the way I choose to have conversations. I love it. Couple of things. I want to dial back a minute to your parents, your adoptive parents. I call them parents. That's one of those moments. They noticed something in you that they loved, and you had to feel that back. As a young child, what is that like? You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And did you share your experiences with friends or anybody else, or did you hold it close to the vest? I know, and it's not the same thing, but coming from a divorced household, when I would have these kind of like, wow, what's going on here? And we're both people from the East Coast, Philly, New York. What's the game here? Well, sometimes it's not a game. It's just somebody who actually cares. What was that like when that epiphany happened that said, Robert, these are good people who really care about you, and vice versa?
Well, in the beginning of this whole thing, before I became homeless or whatever, I was still going to the store back and forth. My biological parents, my mom was mad, like, what are you doing? And granted, the exact words she said was, what are you doing with these white people? She says, white. She says, what are you doing? She said, you're always there, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm working. Mm-hmm. Now, he wasn't the type of mother to say, you got to go get a job. I've always worked, whether it was cleaning up, sweeping yards and stuff like that. It was just the idea that happens I listened and I would hear and I would go with my gut. And I decided one day, I was like, I didn't have friends. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. So all my friends or my associates were always older than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking guys, while I'm in my teens, I had guys that was in their 20s and 30s. They were mentors. Mm-hmm. So it so happens, I'll even make it even plain and better. I'm going to help you understand a little bit. I found this store because my biological mother went to go get me a coat for Christmas. Mm-hmm. I didn't get that coat out until my birthday in April. Not that she didn't have the money. No, that wasn't it. It was because she figured that she was going to give me a Christmas and a birthday gift around the whole time. Right. I said, how am I getting a coat on Christmas and still wear it in April? It was one of those coats. It was called a triple changer coat. Right. You can change it for 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. Take off the layer. They have a thinner jacket. Right. And then I remember my friends would say, "Wow, your mom's some type of wonderful. She actually got you a birthday gift and a Christmas gift all with the same money." Right. And to me, had she not took me there to that store, I would not have been adopted. I would not have got with that family. I would not have known about them had it not been for her. But I always say, God has a plan.
Amen. Amen.
And that was amazing to me because I've been with this family work-wise for, I think, over 20-something years, or maybe over 25 years. And I remember the day I had to tell them, hey, listen, I got to leave. And of course, they're like, well, we'll take care of you. Don't worry. But I'm like, no, I said, I can't do it. I said, I have a son and all. I want to step out on my own and see if I can do it.
It's time.
And it was a hard decision to make. It was a hard one to even tell them. But as business started to slow down, because when we're selling furniture, IKEA was around the corner. selling their furniture and
Right.
kicking us in the curb.
Right.
So I said, well, sooner or later somebody got to go. But then in the back of my mind, I said, I know they take care of me. I know I'm good, and I'm worried about being homeless again. I'm worried about being one check away from being homeless.
Yeah.
And I always think that way, because I always tell people all the time, we're all in this society, especially today,
100%. Yeah.
So,
no,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Again, my apologies. Talk a little bit about being homeless. How old were you that first time? How scared you must have been.
Now here's the thing about being homeless. Being homeless back then wasn't what people assuming. Oh yeah, I slept in abandoned houses. I slept in cars. I did that, but guess what? Back then, as being homeless, and I ate out of trash cans just to eat. I was never that guy. I was always humble, so I was full of pride. So I would not go knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'm homeless. Can you feed me?" I would not do that. I figured how I'm going to do this on my own. And I was homeless actually twice in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So being homeless, and as a young kid, I still strived. I still got up. I still went to school. I would go to friends' house to go take a shower and everything else. I would find ways around everything.
You were a find a way kind of person. You'd find a way.
You have to be.
Yes. I remember, and I'm a little bit older than you. I remember in the early 70s, for example, when the city was really tattered and torn, and Gerald Ford at the time said to New York City, drop dead. I remember many a time, when I say many times, 5, 6, 7 times, we'd get up in the morning, I'd be walking to school, and there's a homeless guy sleeping in the back of my car, or neighbors' cars, and it was this, hey, time to get up. There was not, what are you doing there? It was like, you know what I'm saying? You gave somebody a place, a little grace. You know?
And that's what it was. That's what it was about. And I often say this to people: the being homeless part it wasn't about it's a struggle. I can't believe the world did this to me. No, I own anything that ever happened to myself. Right. I own it. And people say, well, it wasn't you, it was your parents. You know what, though? There's a reason why. And I said, whatever that reason was, hey, it was fine. My second time when I was homeless, I got divorced. Mm-hmm. And I remember my wife said to me, and this was about maybe about 10 years ago, and still an actor. My wife said to me, and we were going through some stuff. She said, you know what? I don't think it's going to be comfortable for you to be here. So me, full of pride, said, you're right. I got my own apartment. I need to leave anyway. I did not have an apartment. But I got rid of stuff. And at the time I knew I was moving, I would throw stuff away, knowing that I was downloading my stuff to 2 trash bags. I found a place to stay. And I was still working at that time. I was still being an actor, but I was working for a hospital at the same time. So I was homeless, but I had money, but I really didn't, because I was using the money to make sure I paid for my son's college. His child support at that time. So I still had to make sure I had money for that. So through that whole time, I slept in this office space I rented out for $400 a month. That was doing good until the building didn't have any more lights and it got cold. Right. And the trippiest thing is to be homeless in January. Right. No one likes homeless in January because it's cold. No. So I slept in the back of my truck, and every night I would sleep in the back of my truck, and I would just look up at the ceiling and I would say, Lord, I can't take this. Please help me out. This is on you. I'm going to just leave this to you. And no matter what I went through, I would still find a friend's house, take a shower. I would take a shower, get to work early, work out, take a shower. Then I'll never forget, I said to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm at my wit's end at this point. But I still had to go do auditions. I still had to go do jobs. I still had to go do everything I had to do. And I'm still working. So I had a paycheck. And all my friends used to say to me all the time, they said, if you have money, why don't you go stay in a hotel? I'm like, I couldn't use that money. Yep. That money was going to be emergency money. Hotel nights was in case something really happened. Right. In case it was like a bad weather storm, or in case I had to use it. So I picked my choices. Now, the thing was, I'll never forget, I got to my point where I had to sleep on my friend's couch. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I remember this one girl I was with, I did not even want to be around this girl. because she had smoked more weed than a little bit. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything.
Right.
So she said, well, you can stay here. You don't have to worry about anything. The next thing you know, she says, but if you can pay half the rent with me, that's great. This girl had an apartment just enough for her.
Right.
And it was in Chester. It was in Chester.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chester part of Philadelphia, trust me, is not the nicest part.
No, and I've been there many times.
So getting out of my car at night was a run to get to her apartment.
Right.
So it got to the point where one of my friends called me. I haven't talked to this friend in a long time. She says, why don't you come on over? We talk, have some lunch, whatever. We had lunch. And she said, the girl upstairs moved out of my apartment. She said, you should check it out. I said, well, hey, do me a favor, give me the landlord's number. Give me the landlord's number. I called the landlord. I said, listen, I just got divorced. I said, my credit is not the best at all, but if you give me a shot. So the landlord said, all right, no problem. He calls me the next day. Said, why don't you come out and take a look at it?
Well, I'm going to stop you there just for our listeners, because what you just did is such an advanced skill. That meaning you didn't hide nothing, full transparency with an explanation. Explain to people how beneficial that is in life, because people are going to catch your line.
You know what? Here's the thing. I always say this to people. I said, be yourself, but do not lie upon yourself. Tell the truth. Let them feel it, because they're going to understand you. They're going to help you or they're not. And you're going to move on to the next one. But if you had to sugarcoat everything, oh, yes, I'm climbing down on my luck. Can you believe my yacht done sunk? And can you believe my apartment caught fire? And I don't understand the rest. Right. You're that person, and they're taking pity on you. But now they're giving you their last. I didn't want that. I wanted to be honest all the way through, because I said it was hard enough for friends to say, hey, why don't you come and sleep on my couch? And I said, I could just sleep in my car. And then they said, well, I'll feel more safe if I know you're inside. So I was like, okay.
Which is great, but you're both out there expressing truth.
But being an Aries, it was like I was built on pride. I was built on, I'm going to do this on my own. And it was different because people used to always say to me, you don't take handouts. No, I won't take a handout. Now, if it's a business thing or a business venture that you're saying, hey, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give this to you. Let's see what you can do with it. That's not a handout. That's called a business moment. But I always said in life, if I can do it on my own, I'm going to do it on my own, but I'm going to show someone else how not to do my mistakes and do what they can do the right way.
Right. The law of reciprocity. You're giving back something.
Correct. Yes.
You mentioned something, with sleeping in the car or sleeping in your truck. And I know a few people right now going through that with just the world that we're in right now in America. They earn enough money to eat McDonald's or order whatever. They don't have a kitchen because they're sleeping in their truck. Right. But I got to tell you, you would never know it. Not that they're even hiding it, but because they're not walking around all sad, and they're making it happen. So what they do is, I won't mention the health facility, but it rhymes a lot with Planet Fitness. So what they do is for $9.99 a month, they have a membership there. They work out. They take their hot shower there every day. They sleep in the car. Is it great? No, but you know what? Planet Fitness is open 24 hours a day. So
that's correct. Yeah.
So my point is they make it happen and they figure it out. And I love hearing, not that you went through this, but your philosophy to get through it.
But I think that's what we are doing now. The society, we're all getting through it. COVID, we all got through it. I mean, trust me, in COVID world, everyone was scared. It didn't matter who you were. You could have been the president. You could have been president. COVID would have knocked on your door and said, hey, we're here, whether you like it or not. So I think in life, that's why I always tell people, we went through a whole thing together as a whole. So I always tell people, you want to know what it feels like being homeless? Everyone has COVID. Everyone has it. Everyone has that one thing that we all went through. And there was no difference about it, because if someone died, you felt it. If you got sick, you felt it. If you're in the house with 4 other people and you got COVID, they treated you like you was an outsider.
Right.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts. You sat in the other room.
If they let you in the house.
if they let you in the house, right? So
Yep.
to me, being homeless was like having COVID. I said, you got treated like that stranger that nobody wanted to be around.
So how did you, or when did you know that you were an artist specific to films, to you do plays, you're a producer, like for example, you're doing a walk-on backup role in Rocky Balboa, and then in 2017 you're doing The Upside, Mayor of Easttown, Blackwater Blues, The Hustle, and you do, and we're talking offline about what you're doing right now in television, and you're doing plays. I would just say all that to walk it back for a second. When did you know that, man, I could do this? This is good. And walk us through that process, because there's a lot of rejection in that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you have to learn to hear no. You have to learn to take no's. No's are free. My thing I always say to people is, no is like yes. Keep getting them until you get a yes.
Right.
But don't take no as a criticism. Take no as like, okay, no problem. I understand no. No problem. Next week I'm gonna get a yes. Now you make them give you a yes because you went through no's. Now every day, prime example. I wasn't always wanting to be an actor in the beginning. I wanted to sing, and I could sing. So I would sing. I would used to go to different karaoke challenges and everything, and I would win all of them. Then I would sing with other people, and everyone says, this is pretty good, but what are you going to do when singing, someone else comes and knock you off your little horse, and they're a better singer because it's going to mess with here. You got to figure that part out. So I said, one day I'll just do this acting thing, but not knowing that it was going to happen by going to do Rocky Balboa.
Right.
It just happens to fall in place. So within that happened, after getting this bug of doing it, it was like, okay, this acting thing I got, this is great, it's wonderful. But then I didn't want to just be subjected to do just acting. I wanted to do a stage play, which I'm gonna tell you now, I didn't start doing stage plays until the beginning of this year. But I'm wrong. I've done a stage play a couple years ago in New York at the Repertoire Theater.
Very good.
I did it at the Repertoire Theater. It was a play called Without. I shot that. We did that. It just so happens I saw Matthew Broderick walking down the street.
Nice.
And I'm a little starstruck.
Of course, I would be.
It's like, dude, it's Matthew Broderick. And he sees me, he said, oh, you're doing a play? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to do this play. He said, well, listen, let me tell you something. Good luck. He said, once you do one, I want to do more.
Right.
And go figure. So fast forward real quick. This year, I did my first play. Next thing I know, the writer director says, you know what? This is your thing. He says, I know you want to shoot movies and all. He said, but trust me. He said, you've only done one play. Let me show you what the difference between plays and movies. Wind up doing the second play. I started feeling the difference of doing plays and movies. Did the third one. The third one was amazing. Matter of fact, the third one actually we're doing tomorrow is called Woman's Intuition.
Nice.
So we're filming that tomorrow. But it was different because you learn more. So now every time I went to go shoot a movie, I was much more prepared.
Right.
And it was knowing back in the day was I just wanted to be a singer. And I said, I could do this, I could do that. But the preparation for it was I prepping for rejection? I had no prep for it, and I've got rejected so many times. Right. And someone says, why do you think you're getting rejected? I'm like, I don't know. But then someone said, look at yourself. Look at yourself, whether it's your outer appearance, whether you talk the way you talk to people, the way you see yourself. But then ask yourself, why are you getting rejected? Do you know, I had to finally sit down one day, look in the mirror. And let me tell you, when you look in the mirror, you start talking to yourself and realize, oh, okay, wait, hold on. I start seeing something different.
Sure.
And I said to myself, we can maybe lose some weight. Maybe we can change the way we look. Maybe we can cut the hair off and trim everything up. Now let's go out to get these auditions. I would go to these places. I went to this place called Mike Lemon Casting, Catholic Wick. Kathy Wickline, Diane Harry. All
Mm-hmm.
these people in Philadelphia, they were casting agencies, and they all gave me a shot to work.
Nice.
And it was great because there was jobs I wanted that I would not get, and I would get turned down on. So I'm like, all right, whatever, no problem. But then it got to the point where working a 9 to 5 and still doing your career became the next challenge.
Right, right.
Because you can do that, but then your job, you tell your job, hey, listen, I need off to go shoot this movie. Your job looks at you like, and no.
Right.
But I got the time.
That'll be no.
And right. And then I had the time, but I said, you're right. You're right. No problem. I would lose opportunities. So I went to do, I was doing, I got an audition to do Mayor of Easttown.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my job, hey, listen, I need off for 3 days. My boss said no. I said, you told me no before. I quit. And he said, what? I quit. Here's your badge. Have a good day. He said, and whether I hear all the time, Rob, you are the most personable, best worker. People rely on you, everything here at this job. And then they said, why quit? I said, because I have a career. I said, the guy who started this hospital had a dream because he wanted to start a career. And his dream has flourished. And he has 4 hospitals. Right. I said, now what good does this man have in his dream, but I can't have mine? So I said, the only way this is going to work is if I take a stand. I said, no. So I said, I've heard no, let me dish no. Right. Do you know, the moment I quit and I walked away, I get a call maybe 3 weeks later, not even 3 weeks, maybe 2. And it was the head of the hospital, the owner of the hospital. He said, listen, there's nothing but good words about you through this whole hospital. We know who you are. You greet people. You sing to them. You sing Sinatra to people all the time. I can't lose you. I said, well, you did. And he said, well, do I have to fire the other guy? He said, you tell me what I got to do and I'll bring you back. Do you want to raise? I'm like, no. I said, because no matter what you do for me, it's only going to go back to where it's at again. I said, I have a career. I said, I'm an actor. Been an actor for years. If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And I'm going to hear these no's. It's going to stop me from wanting to do everything else. I said, so guess what? I love you. I'll always be there for you. Even if you need me on days that you're doing something special and you need something, I'll be there. I said, but right now I got to walk away.
He respected it. I was going to say that affirmation from that person must have felt good because, because you earned it. It was who you are.
Yeah, I did. And I loved every bit of it. And I got to tell you, did I miss a paycheck? No, he paid me everything, every day, every moment, whatever they owed me. It paid my rent. It paid everything I needed and my car note and all. Didn't miss a beat. I wind up looking for another job. And this time I said, God, the job I need has to be flexible. It has to work for me to go shoot a film. It has to work for me to still be able to have medical insurance and everything. I found the job at a nursing home. Oh, the nursing home, I work a week, I'm off a week.
Oh, perfect.
It worked so well that that I was able to go shoot Blackwater Blues in Mississippi. I was able to go back and forth several times. I was able to go to Florida to go teach an acting class. And it was so good because I said to myself, that's what I look for. That's what I wanted. But throughout those failures, it led me up to what I really was going to get. But I had to honestly hear those no's. Because those no's set me up to say, I'm done. I am so through.
There's 2 questions I have for you. The first one really leads into the second one, which I know we're doing this audio style, but you have this wonderful T-shirt that says, be your own superhero. I love that.
Yeah.
But the first thing I wanted to ask you was, as I was prepping for this interview and talking to you even more so, as a general rule in America, my opinion, there is a lack of self-awareness. We are projected for all the right reasons, who knows, but for all the right reasons, we have to act a certain way, we have to be a certain way, we have to stiff upper lip everything or whatever, you're a victim, whatever.
Right.
A lot of people don't take the time to do real self-awareness like you obviously done. I'm just learning that now. To understand self-awareness and read on it and really reflect on it and meditate on it. And I can't even say what was it because of the necessity that you did it, because a lot of people have been in situations that you've been through that don't find that ability to be self-aware. Talk to me how you work to self-awareness.
You know, the most important part, I'm going to say this, is that it got to the point where you can look at your friends, you can look at your family, you can look at everyone. Do you know my family, biological family, they were always the ones that said, I wasn't going to amount for this. I wasn't going to do that. There was no way in the world you're going to get this done. Do you know, even being an actor, when I would tell them I shot this movie or I got this done, they said, are you in it? They would give me the worst. They were the worst ones. And it took them, I mean, years for them to even say, oh, whatever, you exist.
Right.
Fine. And then that right there, I'm gonna tell you, that was the worst part going up in my life. But if I allowed it to get here, it would have hurt me so much more. But that's when it made me more aware of saying, they don't see you, or they don't believe in you. So now you got to make them.
Right.
So you had to change every single thing. And even though it wasn't about them, it was about you. Yeah. Because if they didn't see you, they weren't going to talk about you. They wasn't going to be happy with you. They wasn't going to let the world shine for you. Because, you know, they say, one person tells one person, another person will tell another person, your awareness gets out. Well, guess what they did? They didn't at all. So you know what I said? Sometimes you have to walk a little harder. Yes. So now my adoptive family, they would blow me up all the time. They would always say, hey, my son does this, he's doing that. I'm so proud of you. They would give me acclamation affirmatives all the time. Mm-hmm. They would always be there, always say, I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you lost weight. I'm proud that you're raising your son to be the man you're being. I remember my biological family is the way opposite. Right. But even though I had the adoptive family, I still needed the biological family. Right. And I needed everyone to honestly feel it. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Maybe 5 years ago, they started saying, hey, I see you did a movie. Like, wow, it took 5 years to realize I did this movie. But now they started talking, but it took so much of that to make me understand, even in school. I remember my principal had said to me, God rest his man's soul, and the principal said to me, hey, I know you graduated, I know you're 22, give a speech. I said, what am I, Malcolm X? He said, give a speech. And I was like, fine, whatever. And I didn't know how to give a speech, but I knew how to talk.
Yes.
And conversation, you can get me on conversation all the time. That's my thing. But I became a motivational speaker to talk to people. Right. So my friends would say, oh my God, Rob's going to talk. So I got in front of the class and I said, let me explain something to you guys. This is not the move I want to make. This is not the thing I want to tell you. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy to get here. At 22, trust me, I could have been flipping burgers, but I'm not. I've been working for my family for all these years. I'm here to tell you, for the next generation coming up, please tell your kids, stay in school. It's not the hardest thing in the world, because outside hooking, the other kids outside is in school getting A's, B's, and C's. And guess what? They graduate at 18. They graduate when they're supposed to. Now, 22, you still ducking your head down while you're on SEPTA bus, sitting up here saying, I'm going to the same school you're going to. And when your friends in school call you 21 Jump Street because you're the oldest one with a beard and mustache, you don't want that. Right. And to me, that was crazy. But to get past that, the lasting impression I left when I gave that speech was, it doesn't matter what you do in life, doesn't matter how old or how long it takes you to get there. It's about you getting there. I said, once you get to that prize, work on the next prize, then work on the next prize. I said, because in the end, these prizes are called goals. Yeah. Once your goals are all met, you are going to be more happier than you've ever been, but you have to meet those goals. I said, and I finally met my goal. And then someone said, are you going to college next? Like, that is not my goal. Right. And I knew at that moment, I knew that.
And that's powerful. That self-awareness is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Because, my son said to me, my 23-year-old said, after he got out of high school, he said, Dad, I'm going to college. I said, let me explain something to you. I didn't say you had to go. Right. I did not push that on you. I want you to do what you want to do. Now, his mother was like, oh, he's going to college. I'm like, okay. And I said to my son, whatever decision you make, I'm all right with. Whatever you decide to do, I'm all right with. But listen, even if you don't finish college, I'm okay with that because you're going to figure out what you want to do.
So I want to ask what I consider to be a bit of a challenging question, but I love where we're going. This is something that I struggled with. So as we try to become more self-aware, I find that what tends to emerge is these are things I don't like, and we start to become comfortable going, I don't like this. But it's a lot tougher to figure out what you like. Because we in society are so used to reacting to, all right, there's my situation, all right, I have to find a place to stay. I got to do this. I got to do. And so I remember I talked to a therapist one time, and she said to me, she goes, so Darren, what do you like? And I gave I want my family happy. I want this. No, you tell those are wishes. What do you like?
Right.
So we'll talk a little bit about learning what you like. And second of all, and you mentioned your son and his age, my daughter's the same age. And I learned this from my daughter. People sometimes say, well, I invested all this time. Don't be afraid to erase things and look at it as that was a season and let me do something else. My daughter went into college at Northridge to become a screenwriter. And she enjoyed it. But within her first year or so, she called me one day and she said, got to tell you, Dad, I really enjoy screenwriting, but these other people here live it. She goes, I like doing, coming up with creative plans, and she segued into teaching, and she segued into marketing, and she's just thriving. And we in America have this perception, I know I'm all over the map here with this, where we're like, by 18, you got to know what you want to study in college. You know what you have. No. You so talk a little bit about that, Robert.
I'm going to use this term. There's called likes and needs. Now, I need a piece of pie, but do I like it? Yeah, I like it, but not right now. I can't.
Right.
I need a bag of money. Right. Do I like it? Yeah, I like to have it, but right now I like to have gas too in my car.
Right.
We have, and people keep saying it's almost like your needs and wants. No, likes are so different. I'm going to tell you, I like to be Kevin Hart. I like to be Kevin Hart, but am I putting in the exact work that Kevin Hart did? You got to put that work in to get your likes. I like a lot of things in life. Trust me. There was so much stuff. My likes start outweighing everything else. But my dad used to always tell me, he says, you can like to have something, but you got to work hard to get it.
Yes.
He said, your likes are going to outweigh your needs one day. He said, but then you have to ask yourself, go backwards, go all the way back to the core of everything you wanted, and tell me what you liked as a kid. As a kid, I wanted to be a football player for the Rams because I was an Aries, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be a Ram. I'm gonna play on this team." Well, that was so short-lived because my mom wouldn't let me go on the football squad because she said you're too small. She said, "There's no way in the world. I don't want you to get broken up, but I'm gonna be a football player when I get older." She said no. I said, "Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm not." So my mom says, "No, you're going to be an artist. You're going to start drawing and making paintings." That's not what I want to do.
Right.
That's your dream. I don't like that dream.
Right.
And she kept saying, "But why? You're good at it. Just because I'm good at something doesn't mean I want to do it."
Oh, 100%. I was great at picking my nose, but I can't make a living on it.
Exactly. And it got to that point where I'm great at the hospital. I'm doing stuff all the time. Great working in the OR or the ER. I like doing it, but it wasn't something I wanted to keep doing.
Right.
I knew that my true life was entertaining people, making people smile, making people laugh, seeing the joy in their face. I like doing that. My pure enjoyment was seeing you be all right. As long as I knew I closed my eyes at night, I was happy because you was all right. That's what I like to do.
Tell me about Be Your Own Superhero. Tell me about that shirt.
So, okay. I actually worked at a place called iFly. And it's so different because every TV show, everything came on CW, whether it was The Flash, Legend of Tomorrow, or everything movie-wise, TV-wise, was superhero. Everyone had a hero. But in essence, the shirt really says, be your own superhero, but be your own hero.
Right.
Because everyone else you look up to, hell, we all looked up to John F. Kennedy. And I'm not old enough to say I did, but I listened to his speeches and everything. He was my hero. I listened to Malcolm X. He was my hero. Martin Luther King, anyone else, my heroes. But how can I listen to them but not be my own hero?
Right.
Because you had to learn within yourself, hey, save yourself. Because trust me, no one's down there who's going to save you. And when I saw this shirt, I said, I got to have this shirt. And when I worked at this place, one, iFly is the best place in the world. If you want to indoor skydiving, is it. But when I saw this shirt, I'm like, wow, that shirt says me all the time. And someone says, why? Well, I said, because I don't have to wear a Superman S or a Batman pressed on my chest. Just be my own superhero. Everywhere I go when I wear this shirt, people always say, wow, I am my own hero. Or my dad was my superhero, or my mom was. But I was never my own.
Right, right. You know, that's so true. And because, you know, we learned in the Bible, and again, I'm just going to paraphrase, you know, do unto others as you like others to do unto you. And I tell people, I want you to really think about that.
Yeah.
Because if you want other people to treat you nicely, you also then need to treat yourself nicely. You need to respect yourself, whatever that means. And sometimes we forget to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, we do.
And you need to understand that, you know what? You have what it takes to be okay, more than okay, you know? And we got to remind ourselves of that sometimes. If we want people to treat us nicely and not pick on us, don't pick on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. That's so important. That's, you know, like that's the next part of that. I want to flip back as we kind of draw to a close here. I want to talk a little bit about, I think they're both great skills, movies and film and stage plays. And they're all different challenges. You know, I've done nothing compared to you. But I got to tell you, I've talked to a lot of actors, and I get goosebumps. The fact that when you're live on stage, you're live on stage. There's no retake.
No.
And you got to bring that performance when you have an energetic audience or an apathetic audience. And and by the way, and like hopefully we'll talk again sometime. I'd love that. I would love that.
Oh, we will. We will. I'll leave you my number.
Please, that'd be right back at you. And if you're ever out in California, man, dinner on me.
I'm actually out there in September.
Well, let's do it then. I mean, because I mean,
I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's great.
Here's what we're gonna do, and people are gonna listen to this. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go see a Rams game.
I'll take that.
Yes, we will see a Rams game. My daughter lives down there, and we'll find a nice place to eat and socialize, and we'll have a good time. Done.
I'll take that. I'll take that. That's down. That's great.
Excellent. So the endorphins that must be just out of control when you're on stage, because you're getting immediate feedback. Now, as an actor, how do you stay within yourself? Because there's this tendency you're going to want to play to the audience, or you want to downplay it. It cannot be easy when you're looking to get that response from the audience, but you have to check it in the professionalism that is your role.
I actually like that question because I have one answer that's going to wrap up two worlds. Doing film is what was my line again? Line and cut. All right. And Blackwater Blues take 95. And I can't believe that you did not go, wait, line? Now, stage is, you're going to deliver your line. Your line is, when you first walk in, there's no mess up. My line may be, good afternoon. Oh, good evening. I have a package for a Caroline Mugumbi. Wait a minute. Is that you, Karen Walker? And you can't look at the stage knowing you messed that up and have to go, well, good to see you this morning. How are you feeling? Whether that was your line or not.
Right.
You got to keep going. And then hopefully you remember that line to read back, to bring it right back so she can get her line out.
Right.
So on stage, it's like, for me, I actually play to the audience. I play to the audience well because I do a lot of comical when it comes to the audience. So if it's something as simple as I'm talking, I look to the audience and I want the audience to actually give that feedback to you right there, because that audience will laugh at your audience like, oh my God, here he comes again. Mm-hmm. You become the villain if you are.
Right.
You become the hero if you are, and then the audience, you play with them on it. Now, in most places, Broadway or whatever, sometimes they don't want you to do that. But I get mine from watching Ryan Reynolds or Matthew Broderick or guys like that. So I feed the crowd. Or I remember when I would watch Ferris Bueller. He would always look in that camera. And in TV world, you don't look at the camera, you look around it.
He broke that fourth wall.
Right. So when Ryan Reynolds would do it, I was like, that would be me. So every time I would do a stage play, I would look to the camera, which was the camera was the people.
Right.
So I would look at him, and even if I was exiting that scene, I would go, and then the audience would laugh and clap. But the director never sees it because he's on the back. But he sees the video, like, yo, he said, you made this performance. He said, because you connected with the crowd. He said, even if it was a dull moment, you found a way. And I said, well, that's the difference between film and stage. Film is all about cuts. We'll deal with that later. We'll edit somewhere else.
Yes.
But stage, you're going to get this right. Let's get this done today.
Oh, absolutely. I've written and produced 2 documentaries, and I say with no hubris, and I tell people the stuff that people do on film is important and vital, but the person who's cutting it and editing is really, they got the final say. When you're on stage, it's you.
That's right. Yeah. So when you're doing, like when I did Hustle with Adam Sandler, I did a few scenes and everything. Of course, my scenes got cut. I wasn't complaining. I mean, I've got credit and everything for it, right. So, and I got paid for it, so I wasn't complaining. But the edit, once that guy goes and says, I got to edit, I'm like, well, I might not make that cut. Right. I'll be on the floor. But right. I was always happy because I did get that role, and I was there. Right. When we did Blackwater Blues with Corin Nemec and Jason London, it was so amazing because Corin and I, we did Skittle Wars together, and we did parodies of stuff. Mm-hmm. So Corin said, hey, I wrote you this part. I need you to be in it. Okay, no problem. I'm on my way. When I got that role, all right, well, listen, you're going to play the bodyguard, and you get to punch me and Jason. Yes. I couldn't wait because that's like, I get to punch Parker Lewis. I said, this is going to be the best moment of my life. But knowing that, it was different because on set, I can tell you now, I'm called the one-take king. We're going to do this in 1 take. We are not doing this in 22 takes. Even if I make 3 takes, we are not doing this in 5.
Right.
And people say, what's the difference? Give me the direction. Tell me how you want it to get done.
Right.
I want to do it. Now, just because I do it right, don't mean that my partner is going to do it right.
Right.
So, and then they'll look at me like, how did you remember? How did you? I said, this is what you told me to do. And in theater, you never turn your back towards the audience. Audience don't want to see your back. Audience always want to see your face. So you're always up front, or you give them a side, but you never turn to your back to the audience. So you get used to that. So when you come out, when you're talking, you deliver your lines, you always sidewalk, or you give a good crescent walk and you turn, but you never turn your way around to the back. Always let the audience see your face. Always let the audience feel who you are. Because if you're sad, the audience is sad. If you come out and your energy sucks, you don't want the audience energy to suck, because they're gonna let you feel it.
Yep, they're succubus that way. They're gonna feed off of the energy that you're presenting. You know, you remind me of something, because I love podcasting. I love podcasts and talking Sopranos, which was great. But you just brought up something that Michael Imperioli said in Sopranos. He said, when you're first starting out, especially, and you really are just learning the process, you don't realize that a great acting performance that you do, and it could be great, for time purposes, for edit purposes, could be just cut. And you have to learn that. That doesn't mean that you stunk. You know, it just, the vision, it doesn't fit in the vision. And he said he had a real tough time until he was directing and editing, understanding that, because he always took it personal.
Yeah. Listen, I have, when I did Mary Easttown, my stuff got cut out of there, but it was great because all the stuff I've done, I've got so much homework from everybody. I have so much learning from everyone. And every time I would do something, I said, oh, it's probably going to get cut. They said, well, even if it got cut, don't worry about it. They said, because you were there, you know, someone saw you, someone's seen your performance, and they're going to want to hire you for their next project. And that's how everything would have been. I would got hired because of another project. But when people started seeing me for what I was capable of doing, I started going into writing, directing, and producing. Then people started realizing, like, wow, how do you have associate producer credit offer? I said, because certain times, like, you see something that a director might not see. You see something that someone else won't catch. Now, me being in the medical field, I can tell you if you're doing a medical film and you're an orderly or whatever, but you walk in with your watch on, you walk in with your lanyard on, and you're going into a therapy session with someone, taking someone in, well, that's not going to work. And they say, well, why isn't it? Because if that person, whether that person is a bad guy or he's on psych meds or whatever, that person's going to take the watch, he's going to grab you and pull you through, he's going to knock you down. That person's going to take your lanyard and probably try to choke you. The person's going to take the pin out your pocket and try to stab you. I said, so this scene is going to be wrong because someone like me is going to pick it out. And the guy said, oh, my God. And then he'll say, cut. And then he'll go back, tell this guy, take everything off, take your watch, your chain, your jewelry off, because even at work, you're not flashy at work. No. You're actually there for safety. And your safety, your safety could do harm to someone else if you're not careful. So even for me, I always tell people, because at the hospital, they always say, oh, wear your badge up so someone can see it. We're not getting that, because that's not how you're going to just wrap it around my neck and then sit up there. I done killed myself today. I didn't even know I was going to come to work to do that. But and I always tell people, when doing a movie, I'm that guy who watches a movie to look for a flaw. I'm that guy.
You know, I have a friend of mine, Darren Casey's a dermatologist, medical doctor, who diagnosed skin cancer on an actor in a movie.
Wow.
Yeah, and just saw this actor in a movie, and no names, and contacted that person and said, I think you need to get that thing checked. And it was skin cancer.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
That just popped in my head when what you were saying. So before I let you go, I want to ask you a couple of very quick, fun, let's end on a high note. You ready?
Okay.
So you don't know where this is going to go. It's Independence Day weekend. Give me a wonderful memory that you have of July 4th weekend.
Oh, okay, that's easy. July 4th weekend with my family down the shore is always nice. Because when the fireworks go off and everything, you always want to be the last one. It's like a Marvel movie. You want to be there until the last firework come out. Yes. Because there's always one that sneaks up and gets you. My family used to always say, can we please leave? It's not going to be another firework. After the last one, there it is.
So you mentioned Marvel. So let me go there. What is, if an alien came from another world and said, I am here because I've been asked to ask you, Robert, what is the greatest Marvel movie? Which one would you pick?
Oh, wow. You know what? I might actually say anything with Captain America.
Right.
And the reason why I say that, because it's his shield stands for truth, justice, and the American way, as much as Superman's shield stands for his. But obviously, Captain America really stand by his. Yes. Not saying Superman has fell from the wayside on it, but Captain America says, the Stars and Stripes too much? Or does this shield not mean anything to you? I will go with him.
Oh, and by the way, I love the Marvel television series. I'm anxious to season 2. Big fan as well. I think you and I, there you are. I think you and I are both people that are let people be people. So, so here's a fun little thing. So you're having cereal at 10 o'clock at night with a friend, right? Because you're about to put in a good movie. And you notice that they put the milk in first before the cereal. Do you say anything?
Yeah, you have to.
Thank you. Thank you.
No way in the world you can't get around that, because we do not put cereal in first. You can't put milk in first. You got to put the cereal in first, because milk, by the time you put the milk in, the cereal's floating. You got less cereal in that bowl.
Absolutely. But the consistency, the ratio is off. It's just wrong. Yeah.
Right. Because do you know, you're sitting up here like, so you got what, 6 pieces of cereal in there? Because you don't have a lot. That's like saying I'm gonna eat Captain Crunch, and on top of your cereal, on top of your milk is just cereal. The cereal isn't going down.
No,
So
it's so true.
It's crazy.
So you mentioned Captain Crunch, and I love that as a kid. And
Mm-hmm.
What is it about Captain Crunch? Because you're gonna eat it, it's gonna cut up your mouth. It's like eating shard glass sometimes.
Yeah, it cuts the roof of your mouth up. But Captain Crunch was good. Captain Crunch was good because it was a cereal that didn't have to have flavor.
Right.
It had its own flavor. You could eat it dry. You were comfortable with it no matter how it came out.
Yes.
But because you knew it was going to cut your mouth up, you still wanted it.
Oh, absolutely. It was like a thrill ride.
Yes, it was like a thrill ride because I would not put honeycomb in my mouth because it was the nastiest cereal.
Yes.
I'm like, who puts this in your mouth? But then you get older and you realize you have a life cereal and your son like, hey, this is what old people eat because you can't chew?
Yes. But you find you end up sucking on it anyway because you can't chew.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly right.
So give me a go-to cartoon growing up.
Oh, Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe, definitely G.I. Joe.
Very nice.
Thunderhawks, Mask.
Nice.
We had a childhood coming up. We had a real childhood coming up. At 3:00, you raced home to get to watch Thundercats and ended after Transformers. So you sat home. By the time school, you didn't do your homework until 3:00 cartoons was over.
Well, see, I'm forgetting, and shame on me because I'm forgetting the name of the cartoon. I'm going to call it Battle of the Planets, but that's not it. It was about a submarine in space, and they had to get to a planet and back in 1 year. That thing, 3:00, I'd run home. I was like Walter Payton getting around people. It was great.
But see, back then, there was no social media.
No.
There was none of that. Your social media was like, oh, look, I get home to my friends. And your friends were like, what do you mean? You want to play basketball? No, it's cartoon time.
Cartoon time, yes.
Because you wanted to talk to your friends. Man, did you see that episode? What happened? Yep. It was different then. TV was your friend. TV was your pilot.
Yes.
Back then for us, it was Friday night lineup was the Dukes of Hazzard, Incredible Hulk, and Dallas.
Right, correct.
By Monday came, you talked about, man, did you see the Hulk did that? Or the General Lee ran got real fast. So,
Absolutely.
It was a different time then.
No, and it was very important for you to see that because you then could not engage your friends. If you missed out, you missed out. And by the way, there was none of this, let me go see it on demand.
No demand. No, there was none of that. Yeah. And then if you missed it, you missed it.
So give me, my last question is, and I love this question because you can tell we both love film, and it's 1:30 in the morning. You've seen the movie a million times. What movie stops you in your tracks? You got to sit down and watch.
Shawshank Redemption.
Nice.
Shawshank Redemption. I can watch between that and Titanic. I can watch it so many times, and everyone says, what do you look for in Shawshank Redemption? And any movie you really pay attention to, there's something new in it every time.
Right.
Every time. And for me, the Shawshank Redemption was one I didn't know was a book at first. Even though I know Stephen King wrote books, I did not know it was called Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption. So when I watched it the first time, I'm like, this is the longest movie I love because you didn't see 3 hours.
Right.
When Titanic came, the movie got interesting when it hit the iceberg.
Yes.
It was a good love story, but unlike Shawshank Redemption, it got better when Andy started getting smarter, like, I'm done.
Right.
And the moment he started digging that hole, he didn't care about nothing or nobody else. Right. And he started showing that. In the beginning, he stayed to himself, hey, you can't tell me nothing, I'm not bothering nobody. But then, of course, the girls decided they wanted to mess with him. He started realizing, I didn't commit a crime, but I'm leaving out a criminal.
Right.
It was such a good standard because it had talked about everything.
Yep.
The Shawshank Redemption, I always tell people, if you never watched a movie with Morgan Freeman and understood it other than Lean on Me, this was that movie.
No, I agree. And by the way, for me, Morgan Freeman's line, you better get busy living or you get busy dying, is one of the greatest single lines in movie history. Yeah,
oh my God, yeah. Because it's so true, because you use that in life.
Yes.
And that's life, literally. Either you live or you die. And guess what? You're going to try to figure out how to live until you're 90 to say I got memories. Because when we hit 50, the 50 that we hit is becoming, I want to do something for me. I gave 50 years to someone else. I gave 50 years to corporations.
That's how I feel right now.
And I said, and I'll be 50 next year. And I said, I'm done working a 9 to 5. I'm going to devote all of it to film. I'm going to devote all of it to writing and everything else. And people say, you can't do that. I'm like, I hear can't, but I don't listen to can't.
Right.
And that's why I said, through the rest of this year, I'm going to grind to do what I want, but I'm done. And people said, why? I said, because at the next 50, I don't owe you. I owe me.
Do you know, Robert Benn, you're a blessing to this world, my friend.
I appreciate that.
I truly mean that. And it's been an honor to talk to you today. For those who want to learn more about you and follow your story and your journey and see you in productions, and we'd even talk about the television project you're working on right now, if you want to just talk about that quick, but how could people follow you and learn more about you and watch your work?
Oh, wow. So most platforms, I'm on Twitter. I am Actor Robert Benn on Twitter. I am Actor Robert Benn on Facebook. I am Actor Robert Benn on Instagram. As for work, wow, I got more work than I can count right now. At Blackwater Blues, actually, we did the pilot for that. That actually is going to be amazing. I have the play I'm doing right now. It's called Women's Intuition. My next play is called Men Lie Too Much and Women Lie Too Good.
True.
It happens to be the best one. Within that, I have a project I'm working on right now in New York City. I can talk about it, but I really can't talk about it. I have a project in California that I do in September.
And when are you going to a Rams game?
Yeah, and you know what? That's great. Matter of fact, football season starts September, right?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect timing. I have a lot of stuff that I like to do, and I always tell people the flexibility that I have now, I'm trying to do everything I possibly can. It's different because for me, I was that guy who used to be 400 pounds, where I'm now that guy who is now 280. I work out so differently, and I tell people the most amazing part isn't it the fact that you work out, because that's easy. It's changing your eating habits.
Oh, that's been the toughest part for me.
Let me tell you, I live clean. And when I say I live clean, meaning I only eat fruits and vegetables. I eat anything that's grown. I eat salmon, I eat chicken. I will not eat anything in boxes. I won't eat anything on the shelf, because anything that has a shelf life, it's going to give you a shelf life.
100%.
So, because I learned that the cleaner you eat, the longer life you'll have, the longer longevity. So changing all that was changing me. I tell people I'm about to be 50, they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, okay. I can argue with you there.
My friend. You look good.
I appreciate that.
And you know, we don't, this is a whole different podcast we can do, but people don't realize that a lot of the eating that we do is just from habit.
Yeah.
From just habits that we've had in the past, or subconscious trauma that we've had, the whole thing. I can't control the situation, but I can control this Twinkie I'm eating, and thus I'm controlling that Twinkie. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, so true. Do you know, the moment I decided I wanted to eat cleaner was I got to the point where I looked in the mirror and like, well, I don't think the stomach grew on its own. I think we added to that fuel, to that fire.
Right.
And it got to the point where I said to myself, every time I go, this is what made me change. Every time you go to Target, there's that camera in front of you. There's that monitor. And it says, "Ooh, boy, you are a fat guy. You might want to lose that weight."
Right.
Because when you look in the mirror, it keeps saying, I don't like what I see behind there. Now when I go to Target or anywhere else, I look at them like, actually, I'm kind of comfortable. I think I'm going to work on this last little love handle. Right. I think I'm good. But you have to see that within yourself.
True. 100%. Robert, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for actually having me. And I know we were supposed to have been doing this a couple of days before, and I've been a bit busy, but I'm happy I've done it now. Perfect time.
Listen, that's what it's about. And, the best part for me is I made a new friend today.
Oh, you didn't just make a friend today. You made a friend for your life.
Amen. Right back at you. And
So I can't wait. I'm gonna send you my numbers. Don't worry.
I already sent you mine. You'll see it.
I seen that. I did see it. Yeah.
Take care, my friend. Be well.
Take care, my brother.
Robert Benn rocks, my friend. Bye now.
Hey, I appreciate that.